over time. So part of me is like, how do I bring coaching up so it's my main source of income? And it really becomes the one that I can hold my hat on and just say, this is it. I just want to do coaching, do some talks, and that's it.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Wynn, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Mark Danaher. He's been a coach for over 20 plus years. He's the founder of Careers by Design. Welcome to the show, Mark. So glad to have you here.
Welcome. Excited to be here.
You know, look at you. I wouldn't assume that you've been in the coaching industry for 20 plus years, but I would love to hear the origin story, the lore. How did you decide that you wanted to become a coach and, more importantly, turn it into a business?
Yeah, interesting story as it comes about. I was really designed to be in education. I was running Career Center in a high school, never thought really about going outside of that and loved what I was doing. And then we got a new principal who was deemed to become superintendent. And basically what happened was at that point, I was teacher of the year and finalist for teacher of the year in Connecticut for my career coaching stuff. And he came in and for whatever reason didn't like me. And I became kind of the don't say Mark's name in the school. If I went to the bathroom, people were checking on me. It became to the point where I was getting burnt out. And over the course of 6 months, I had gone from like this vibrant, wonderful person to like this miserable, let me go hide in a corner somewhere. And at that point, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast, something was going on, and I found a coach. And basically what happened was I started working with this coach to deal with my burnout. And that led me to kind of going through probably about 2 years of coaching with him. And it allowed me to see my potential. And that helped me change everything. I started doing things that kind of got my mojo back. I actually did these like little graphic quotes that got my energy going. And after I got through this process, I started to realize that there's a lot of other people like me out there and that I could help them. And so that got me interested in coaching. So I started doing some training, started reaching out, and started looking at my own kind of tribe of people in education, looking at like they're dealing with burnout, they're dealing with overwhelm. How can I help them? They were coming to me for like resume help, but there was an underlying story that I started to do. And that's how I got into coaching, was just kind of like a happenstance. I got forced into a corner and I came out swinging.
Sounds like you went through the whole burnout phase through your career. You went through the whole coaching process. You had a taste of your own you had a taste of the coaching experience, and then you wanted to become a practitioner from what it sounds like. Is that right?
Very much, yeah. I went through it. It got to the point with burnout, like I was the point where I had a friend call my wife and said, is he okay? Like, what's going on?
Ooh.
And that's when I realized, like, I'm not in a good place. And so, going through the coaching, going through the burnout, when I work with people, I know exactly where they've been. And each person has their own story and how they deal with burnout and how it leads those little leaks kind of build up. And so, I've had that experience. And then also having a coach. I mean, I had that coach for a number of years, but it's so helpful when you have somebody else to see that outside perspective and to kind of ask those powerful questions to get you to start thinking and looking at things differently.
And so now that we kind of understand like the origin story of why you became a coach, let's talk about like today. Who are the people you help and what do you help them with? Is it also burnout? I would love to kind of hear.
Yeah, so the people I really help are people that get stuck in their career, right? Kind of mid-career professionals, but also burnout. And it's something that's near and dear to my heart because I've actually hit burnout twice. I had that first time, and then I had another time when I was kind of in another position that just threw me for a loop. So the mid-career professional, somebody who's stuck, not sure what they want to do, not really happy. And then the person that's kind of like, I'm in this place and I just don't know how to get out. And it's just been, I've gone farther and farther into a dark place, and helping them kind of get out of that and setting up routines and practices to help them start to see who they are again and to build themselves back up to find that fit and alignment in their life.
Who's coming to you? Is it like mid-level managers? Is it a certain industry?
A lot of it comes from like in Connecticut, we have a big insurance industry. So I have a lot of insurance representatives that come to me from the different big, Travelers, the Hartford, different places like that. But then I have people from around the world that I deal with, and a lot of it, some from education, some from healthcare, some from IT. It just depends. I'm working with some higher ed folk right now that are kind of figuring out what is their best alignment, trying to find their fit. They feel like I've gotten to a point, I don't know what to do, or they have a manager or an executive director who really doesn't see their value. And so helping them kind of figure out what's their next move.
Yeah, thanks for sharing kind of like who you help. So it sounds like insurance people, different people around the world. Let's talk about your marketing for a second. Like, if they're around the world, they're probably not like bumping to you at the coffee shop and being, hey, Mark, like, let's work together, right? So how do people typically find you? What kind of marketing are you doing right now?
So a big thing is I do different talks. So I'll do different presentations on burnout, how to recover, things like that. And I'll go out to different conferences virtually. That's the nice part, is that you can do so much virtually now. So part of that is just going out. I do a lot of library talks. I'll go to Rotaries. And then on my LinkedIn profile, just sharing different messages. So I've found as I've been posting more, that's gotten me more people connecting in and saying, I'd like to work with you. And so a lot of it's just been kind of that. I haven't done a lot of paid marketing. I try to do a lot more through talks, through posting on LinkedIn, and really a referral network.
I guess when they're actually working with you, what kind of coaching modalities or business model offers are you kind of running? Is it mostly one-on-one? Is it group coaching? What do you kind of use at the moment?
Yeah, so right now it's really one-on-one. I've been doing a lot more one-on-one. I've done some group coaching where I'll do like 4 people in a small group where they get a chance to kind of work with one another and hear each other as they go through it. But the one-on-one has been really well for me in terms of helping people kind of get to that next step. And each person's a little different. Typically, it's 3 to 6 months I work with people because I really want to help them deal with the issues at hand and then hold them accountable and then make sure that they can integrate it into their lives so that there's growth and movement afterwards, compared to just, hey, we can meet for 4 sessions. I'll get you through this, but I don't know how you're going to do afterwards.
So mostly one-on-one right now. And I don't know, I'd like your opinion on this too, because you've been a coach for a while. A lot of coaches listening to this actually struggle with is like pricing strategies. And if you're open to it, I'd love to talk about pricing. You don't have to give any hard numbers, by the way. Yeah. How do you structure your pricing strategy for your offers? Like, I know some people do hourly, some people do project-based, value-based, retainers, subscriptions. There's so many different models. So which ones have you kind of gravitated to, I guess?
I've really settled on the hourly rate, and then I'll give, like, if you book for, make a commitment for 6 months, I give a discount. The hardest part is putting that price of what is my value per hour, thinking about my training, my expertise. And part of that, you then think, like, am I worth that? And that's where you have to really lean into your, confidence of who you are and what you've done for your training and who you've worked with, because it can be. I know at the beginning it was like, I'm charging this much, people are going to pay that. And then you start to question yourself. And I remember at the beginning, you'd be like, I have this price, and you get on the phone with somebody and you have the conversation, you're walking them through and you get them to the point and you're like, oh, and I'm not going to charge that. I'll give them this price. And that was the hardest part, to get over that, of saying, this is my value. If you want to work with me, here's my price. And just hold on to that and leave the silence. Let them grapple with what's going on. When I look at clients, it's never really about the money, right? They can afford it. They will find the money to afford coaching. It's my confidence in who I am and what I offer to make sure I stick to it.
Yeah, and especially if you're charging hourly. Obviously, like I said, you don't have to give any hard numbers, but how did you come up with your original number? Like, what are you kind of anchoring against? Are you typing into ChatGPT? Are you looking on Indeed? Like, how do you come up with that initial rate, I guess?
Yeah, so a lot of it came down, the initial part was really just, when I first started, I always looked at other coaches. What are they charging? What would you see? Now, you don't always see a lot of coaches put numbers on there, but what were they charging? I would do some coaching calls and talk to different coaches that were in my niche and say, what are you charging at this point? Now I'll do some of that. I'll look at ChatGPT, do some research, see what's out there. But I've just gotten to a point now where I've just steadily increased it to a point where I feel comfortable. And some people look at me going, you're charging that much? And I'm going, if you want to work with me, that's what I'm worth. There are other coaches out there if you want to charge less, but you have to look at the quality of what you're going to get.
Have you ever considered any other pricing models, like in the future, I guess, like experimenting with any other type of pricing?
That's been the tough part. The hourly rate has worked well for me, but I have looked at like project-based. I have looked at a few other pieces, where they can just have a package, but the hourly rate has worked well. The package has worked well if they can make that commitment to 3 or 6 months, but I haven't really looked beyond that, because it's, I don't want to change what's not broken. So I think I'm, sticking at the moment, but always investigating, I think, is the most important part.
I see. Let's switch over to your future goals. So like I said, you've been a coach for a while now. You've been in the game for 20 plus years. And so I guess where do you want this coaching business to take you in the next few years? Do you have plans on scaling? Do you have secret dreams, secret ambitions no one knows about? I'd love to hear.
I think right now I'm reading a book actually from Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with him. And he just came out with a book called Scaling, which really builds off of the 10X. And I've been really looking and honing in on where do I want to see my practice in the next few years? Because at the moment, I do a lot of training, I do coaching, I have some online seminars I've developed. And so right now at the moment, what I'm really trying to do is how do I simplify my model so that I can scale it faster and higher? So right now I'm really looking at what doesn't align with my current goals. Coaching is my number one thing that I really want to do. So I've been trying to look at what's all the other noise that I have at the moment. Is it doing the online seminars, which are nice, but they don't fill the boat. They get like 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 people at a time. They don't really kind of bring a lot in over time. So part of me is like, how do I bring coaching up so it's my main source of income, and it really becomes the one that I can hold my hat on and just say, this is it. I just want to do coaching, do some talks, and that's it.
Yeah. And if you're look at your business right now, like what are kind of some of the bottlenecks and challenges that you're noticing in your coaching business? Seems like you kind of have this vision of scaling, but what are some bottlenecks that you're noticing at the moment?
So I think the bottleneck is what can I let go of and be okay with? So I think the online seminars is something I recently developed over the last 2 years. And I think that's the hardest part, in reading the book with Dr. Hardy and looking at that, sometimes you got to let go of some things that are okay and doing well. I think that's my bottleneck is I have to be comfortable with letting go and going all in. Because the biggest thing is I've hired VAs, I have them helping me do certain things and getting rid of some of the administrative pieces. But now for me as a visionary leader, I have to look at the bottleneck of it's my piece of what are the 4 prongs that are holding you back and what do I really need to focus on to grow it. And so online seminars is one that I've definitely been like, I think I need to let it go. Maybe I can turn them into like a free master class or a free seminar to kind of grow and bring people in. But that's been, I think, the biggest bottleneck of just letting go of the things you've created so that you can grow.
Yeah, you stole the question out of my mind. I was like, what is that one thing that you feel like you want to let go, but it's hard to? And you just answered it. Okay, cool. I'd love to play a game with you.
Okay.
It's a great game that I learned from the storyteller. His name is Matthew Dix. And it's called First, Last, Best, Worst. It's a really great game to like kind of get stories out of you. One of the things that I think we should do it under is the lens of business investments. So like, a lot of coaches, they invest into training, team members, masterminds, anything like that, right? And so I'm going to prompt you a question and then just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay? We'll do first. What was your first business investment that you kind of remember?
First business investment, yeah. I would have to say an accountant.
Ooh, that was the first one.
Yes.
What year was this? Year 1 of your business or?
It was pretty much in year 1 because I had no idea how to do financials. Like I had no idea what I was doing. So that was the first investment I made was to hire an accountant. I've had him now for the 25 years.
The last business investment you made?
Hiring 4 virtual assistants to help me.
Wow, 4.
Yeah. I've been trying to do things right now and organize and get things in order. And I had to make that investment because I just didn't have the time to go through all the work. I want to get my SOPs in order. I want to get certain things that I have for posts and other pieces in order. And so I made that investment to really kind of help me get in a better place.
So what's the decision between like 4 and versus just 1 VA? I'm very curious about that.
So I think it was the organization or the agency I worked with. They kind of gave a package deal and said, look, we can do this for this price. They have these different skill sets compared to just hiring one who you have to do a lot more training. So I took the package because it gave me that skill set that I don't have to train anything for them. I just have to let them know what I want it to look like and how I want to bring things together.
Best business investment?
I'm going to say doing IPEC coach training. So that was something where I spent 2 years really diving into how to be a coach, how to, look at asking the right questions, how to hold space, really developing it with a cohort that people that I now stay in touch with. And that was probably one of my best investments.
Now we get to a fun one. Worst business investment that you kind of wish you got your money back from?
I would have to say it would probably be assessment training. Like, getting different assessments and doing things, it really didn't make a difference. It's the conversations that we have with coaching, compared to the assessment. There's no magic assessment that's going to give you, oh, here's the career they should do.
Really interesting. As you're sharing these stories, how has your decision-making changed in what to invest in over the last few years, I guess?
I think the best thing I've been doing is I haven't been reactive in my decision making. I've been proactive in looking at what is my future going to be? What do I want to achieve? And then how does money being spent go into that to help me grow as a coach?
Final advice from you. If you had to start over tomorrow with 0 followers, 0 clients, 0 relational capital that you've kind of built over years, but you have all the wisdom you have now, what would you do in your first 90 days to rebuild this practice? And you have to rebuild this practice. You can't just quit.
Wow, that's a good question. I would have to say the first thing I would do, like in terms of building this out, is, I would probably build my audience in LinkedIn. Like I would just look at who is my intended audience, really dive into that niche and just provide, offer those opportunities, be in service so that I can grow a following and grow that, trust and likability from that point. Because all the fancy marketing is not going to help you. It's building those people and making those connections so that people know, like, and trust you.
Love it. Okay, Mark, how do people find you and connect with you?
So my 2 main areas are LinkedIn, right? My profile on there, you'll see everything. And then my website at markdanaher.com, which is where I host Careers by Design. Those are where people are going to find me, be able to learn more about me. Those are the most important areas.
Cool, Mark. Well, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing all your experience, like about your coaching business and all that sort of stuff. Any final things that you kind of want to say before we sign off?
I think, as people look at what they're doing in life, I think you really want to design a life and a career that fits you. And, there's no perfect job out there, but you want to figure out how can you adjust things in your life so that you're happy and understand that, you have one chance to go around this earth and this world and make it something that you really enjoy and an opportunity to give back and grow in this world.
Beautiful message. Again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Mark.
All right. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.